Welcome to the first ever The Ump and the Chump Show. Dan Kitchen, fantasy umpire here.
I'm the chump, George Siska.
This is our first episode together. George and I live in the same neighborhood. We're going to dive right in with our season preview here. All 32 teams. We're going to give you guys everything you need to know. The ups, the downs, key additions, key subtractions, maybe addition by subtraction for some teams.
And some gambling insight here or there.
Yep, exactly. So let's kick things off. We're going to go division by division. First up is AFC East. We're going to talk about the Buffalo Bills. One of those teams, in my opinion, George, where it is addition by subtraction. They lose Stephon Diggs. I think they're going to be a different offense, maybe a better offense. I'm not buying the Josh Allen hype, but I do think that James Cook and a few others on this offense are going to see an uptick.
Well, I guess I can't take away my bet that I already put in for them to win the Super Bowl. So I guess we disagree with there somewhat. Fantasy-wise, I think you're correct. I think that they're going to be in trouble when it comes to offense. Defense, they're amazing. So when it comes to gambling, I think that they are going to win the division or come close to winning the division. The Miami Dolphins, I believe, are plus 200, and the Jets are plus 180. There's value in the Dolphins there for the AFC East. We haven't got to the Dolphins yet. The Bills, they can do it. They can win it all. I really do truly believe so. But fantasy, I love Diggs. I think that Diggs is going to be great for the Texans.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, you and I differ there. Yeah. You're big on Diggs. I'm out on Diggs. We can talk about the Bills for now. We'll get to the Texans later. For me, with Josh Allen, here's the key. He needs to run, maybe more than ever this year.
Right.
The offense is going to be a little bit different. They're going to have a lot of 2 tight end sets, right? So the personnel groupings are going to change a lot this year. And they bring in the new guy, Keon Coleman, rookie wide receiver. They're going to ask him to do a lot. I think they're going to rely on the rookie tight end last year, Dalton Kincaid, now in his second year with the team. Obviously, Dawson Knox is very close with Josh Allen. They have a good rapport. And then Khalil Shakir. He's the slot receiver.
He's the one I
yards
like.
after the catch. One that you like. You and I talked about him a lot.
I like him a lot. He was on the 100. I was before prepping for this. I was watching the top 100 plays from last year, and he was on it too.
Yeah.
He was on it often. And you know why? He did it against the Steelers. I remember watching the games, and I'm like, who is this guy?
Yeah.
Like, why is he doing this?
Yeah, so they have a big yards after the catch guy in Shakir. They bring in Curtis Samuel, another weapon. They're going to use him out of the backfield. He'll be in the slot. He'll be out wide. He crushed
Quick games.
Yeah.
Quick games.
Yeah.
What I'm hearing from you is I'm hearing a lot of ground and pound and a lot of running, which just they'll be quick, low scoring unders.
Yeah, and one quick note on the draft. The Bills let the Chiefs get Xavier Worthy. They let the Chiefs get the fastest player in the draft, and then they go and take Keon Coleman a little bit later on. So, head scratcher for sure. It looks like Xavier Worthy is the guy in Kansas City. I'm very high on him. He's been killing it all preseason. We'll see about Keon Coleman.
One last thing on the Bills and the draft. People didn't like when they picked Jared Allen, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Right? They were Josh Allen, Jared Allen.
Josh Allen, Jared Allen, all the Allens.
All the Allens are the same.
There's too many Allens
in the
NFL. Yeah. Oh, yeah. There was a lot of criticism for the Josh Allen pick.
I remember Mina Kimes. She was going crazy.
I wasn't a huge fan. I wasn't a huge fan. So I'm not a huge college football fan. I will tune in just for the NFL draft, and I'll do my draft prep. Josh Allen was one of those guys who wasn't super accurate. He took a lot of risks. We're starting to see that in Buffalo, right?
Yeah, zero accuracy. The first year, he was one of the only quarterbacks that have gone from 40% to 60% to 70%. Quarterbacks don't typically go up in percentage throughout their career. They usually stay the same or do worse.
Yeah,
he's special. I'm a big fan of him. That's why I do think they're going to do well in throughout the season. They have a weak division. Tom Brady picked on the division for 20 years or so, and then he gets that bye going into the playoffs, and that's where my thought process goes in for why I think they can win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, the AFC East is totally up for grabs this year. Let's quickly touch on the ground game, the running backs. James Cook is the one guy that I need to own on the Buffalo Bills roster this year. I think, obviously we saw it with Joe Brady when he took over as the offensive coordinator. they went to the ground game and they gave James Cook a lot of work. They brought in Ray Davis, the rookie from Kentucky. He could steal some of those goal line carries, but right now it looks like it's James Cook's backfield to lose. And a couple of stats on Cook from 2023. 1,567 total yards, third most out of all running backs, right? So he did it. It was quiet. A lot of people don't consider him to be a top 5 back, but he did it. 33 rushing attempts of 10 or more yards, which means that he is a boom running back too. He's going to give you those big plays.
He gets
and he averaged 16 or more attempts per game from weeks 11 through 18, averaged 16.7, which is exactly when Joe Brady came over as the offensive coordinator. Ken Dorsey was showed the door. Joe Brady comes in. They immediately turn to James Cook for a lot of that production on the ground. So the Bills O-line, they rank 7th in run block win rate. Huge stat for O-lines. And 173 vacated targets, which is the second most in the league.
What does that open up? The play action pass.
Play action pass, dump offs. I think we're going to see a lot more dump offs to James Cook. So I think that pretty much covers everything with the Bills. Let's jump ahead to what we both think is the most fun team in the AFC East, the Miami Dolphins. Let's go down to South Beach.
I'm a big fan of Josh McDaniels. I'm not a big fan of Tyreek Hill, but I like the way he plays football. Yeah. Jalen Waddle, another just amazing superstar. Achane, who's not to like?
Yeah.
It's hard not to, again, and I said plus 200 right now. As of this evening.
Yep, August 17th. Losing track of my dates.
That's the way work goes.
Yeah, exactly. And so Mike McDaniel, one of my favorite coaches in the NFL, pretty much bringing back the same roster, right? They're running it back here. They lost
money.
Yeah, they lost some key defensive players
because of that money.
Because of that money that Tua got. We love that for fantasy. One of the things that I like to do in fantasy, I look at teams that lose players on defense because that is a lot of times what needs to be made up for on offense. And so Miami, who has an offense, West Coast style, very run heavy, very run friendly, but they do not shy away from taking chances deep down the field. They create great passing lanes for Tua. Jalen Waddle, I think, is going to take off, but I'm all about this run game and Devon Achane and Raheem Mostert.
I keep picking Jalen Waddle in every mock draft I get. I pick him and late. I'm getting value on him. Yeah. I'm getting a lot of value, I feel. Achane, it'd be great to pick him early, but you just can't. Yeah. I mean, you can maybe. I don't believe it. I believe that McDaniels likes to use the running back by committee.
Oh, and he will. Yeah. He will. And so my thing with Miami, I agree. You're going to have to jump up and get Achane in probably the second round at this point. You might be able to wait and get him in the third round.
I think that's too high.
But that price tag is pretty crazy, especially when you consider that Raheem Mostert's going right around round 5 or round 6, I believe, right now in ADP. So, and let's not forget about the rookie Jalen Wright out of Tennessee. Fantastic rookie running back, great fit in Miami.
It's so much.
If either of those two guys go down, he has league-winning upside. It's something that we toss around a lot in the fantasy world. He could win you the league, even if they stay healthy. He can be a flex starter every single week.
Would you pick him last, like in the late round, or would you use him like waiver wire?
I wouldn't wait. Let me put it that way. I wouldn't wait. You can get him in rounds 12, 13, 14 at this point.
Okay.
Some of the fantasy sharks are jumping up and taking him in round 10 because they're anticipating an injury, right?
Yeah.
The thing about Raheem Mostert, he has been healthy for the last couple of seasons.
30,
but yeah, he's in his 30s. He wasn't healthy in his late 20s. Before he got to Miami, he wasn't a healthy running back, aside from his last year in San Francisco. So he is injury prone. Again, a term that we toss around a little too much, but he might get hurt.
It's the NFL. Everybody's injury prone. No,
exactly. Devon Achane too. We only saw him for a couple of games last year, but to me, he is worth speed. And again, that offense, the lanes they open up, one-cut guys, they see the hole, hit the hole, a lot of bursts. Devon Achane's going to win.
It's like when you're watching another sport. It's like Connor McDavid in hockey. When you watch him skate, he's faster than everybody else.
Yep.
And it's weird to see. And now the Dolphins have multiple guys that are faster than everybody else with Waddle, with Hill. Tua gets the ball out before 2 seconds.
Yep.
He gets it. That Mike McDaniel gave him he basically told him, I don't know if you watched Hard Knocks at all last year, but I was big into it. Like, well, I'm a big fan of the Dan Le Batard show. I got to plug them. I've been listening to him for over 10 years.
Give him the plug.
I'm sorry, it's 15 years, man. I love you. And they are Miami based, and I know I've been listening to them forever. And Josh McDaniel really believes in Tua, and before with Brian Flores he didn't give him the tools that he needed. Right. And now the only thing that worries me is again, but although it worries me when it comes to fantasy, when it comes to betting, when it comes to long term, but fantasy, you just mentioned about how when you spend money on your quarterback, lose money on defense, that means you actually kind of go up in value. That's super interesting when it comes to, I'm going to look at overs too with that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
There's a lot in play for the Dolphins this year. And real quickly, just to back up what we're saying about the running backs, Achane, among the running backs with at least 50 carries last year, he led in yards before contact per carry, right? So, again, that scheme, that offense, that O-line, they were creating space. That's all he needs. That's why this offense works. He led the league in yards after contact per carry at 4.4. The next closest was 3.9. Blew everyone else away. He led the league in percent of carries for 10 or more yards, which again, big playability. That's what you want in fantasy. He can be efficient on less, which is why even if this is a running back by committee, he is still a startable RB2 with RB1 upside and can win your league if Raheem Mostert gets hurt. He also led the league in runs reaching 15 or more miles per hour. Fast, open space, O-line creates, in the scheme with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle flanking on the sides, going 22 miles per hour past you. That creates open lanes. You have 6 guys in the box when that happens. Forget about it.
I'm not supposed to get excited about a team that I'm not wearing. Yeah. I watched a lot of Dolphin games last year because they are fun.
They're fun. Fun stat about Raheem Mostert. He had more rushing touchdowns, 18, than Breece Hall, Saquon Barkley, Bijan Robinson, and James Cook combined. Combined. They had 17 combined last year. So touchdown regression is coming from Mostert is my point with that. He still is a fantastic draft pick at round 5-6, which is
it's also their second or third year in that system, which means they're just going to be churning. I mean, Tua knows it.
And for me, if you're in that middle to late round 1 draft pick, Tyreek Hill is an excellent choice. Consistency is everything with wide receivers. 3 top 2 finishes over the past 4 years for him. 1 top 6 finish season there. He has 12 kids, so he has a lot to play for. He has to feed them all, right? He's got to bring home the bacon for the family. 31% target share. That's number 2 in the NFL. Top 10 wide receiver in terms of red zone targets, and he's number 3 in the NFL in terms of yards after the catch.
My goodness.
So for me, he is, especially right now when you look at Jamar Chase holding in, CeeDee Lamb holding out, you have a lot of question marks. CMC has a little bit of an ankle injury going on, calf strain, something going on there. There are some serious question marks early in the draft. Tyreek Hill, consistent. He's going to get the job done. He's healthy. Big season ahead.
You kind of talked me into it, but at the same time, I when you said consistency is key, being on the field is also being consistent. He has...
he's had some hamstring issues for sure.
Right.
When you're a speed guy, you're going to have hammies for sure. So I think we covered that. We didn't really touch too much on their tight ends. They bring in Jonnu Smith from Atlanta.
They don't really. I mean,
but Mike McDaniel made an interesting comment early in OTAs. A reporter asked him about Jonnu Smith and his time with Atlanta. Obviously he didn't get a lot of time there just because of Kyle Pitts. He was splitting touches, and McDaniel said a lot of times what you saw before is not what you're going to see in the future or what you get in the future. And hinting at Jonnu Smith, who we all know is a freak athlete, one of the fastest tight ends in the NFL. He might get the Mike Gesicki role plus some in Miami, and that could lead to a very, very lucrative season for a tight end.
Gesicki's quite large too.
Yeah.
But he
can't block. Jonnu Smith can block.
Understood, but you still got to catch the ball. My point is that Gesicki didn't get the ball. Hopefully Smith gets the ball. For what I see with that system, it's more of looking to the outside, first, and then right after that, looking at his slant, his B receiver. If not, then the C, and then if not, then he just tosses it out to the flat or throws it away.
Absolutely.
Tua has been amazing at getting the ball away. Like you just got to stay healthy.
Quick. Yeah, he's got to stay healthy, and he's trimmed down a little bit. He's slimmed down. He's slim Tua. We'll see if that holds up. Maybe he's able to get out of the pocket a little bit better, get down. Hopefully, Odell Beckham also in Miami now. Let's not forget about him.
What?
Yep. So they have Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle. Something happens to those guys. Odell Beckham fits in beautifully. He's not going to take the top off the defense like he used to.
He's great in the slot.
Yeah,
he's great.
Reception machine.
You're wearing giant. That's where he started.
That's where he started. Tear in my eye. So we can jump ahead to the New England Patriots, going from a really fun offense to absolute snooze fest.
Do we have to
right
talk about
down the
Patriots?
street from us, Foxborough?
We're talking about fantasy.
We're talking about fantasy. We can just skip this team. Should we just move ahead?
No. I guess okay. We'll give him
new head coach Gerard Mayo, new offensive coordinator Alex Van Pelt. Van Pelt comes over from Cleveland. Offenses ranked 21st, 2nd, 9th, 5th, and 4th in rush attempts. Receiving weapons or lack thereof in New England. They're going to lean heavily on the run. That's why they brought in Van Pelt. Gerard Mayo is a defensive-minded head coach. I think the only player we need to talk about here is Ramondre Stevenson.
Again, running back guy by committee. Now Gerard Mayo is.
Hey, OJ Mayo. We can talk basketball.
Gerard Mayo is not Bill Belichick. However, they're still going to run the ball. They're going to ground and pound. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I still like Jalen Polk. I don't know if you've been able to watch him in this preseason.
Stud.
He can take the top off of. But again, if they double team him, then there's no one else to throw to. It's hard to talk so poorly about a team.
So let's break this down. So they draft the rookie quarterback. Drake May comes in from UNC. Looks like he's going to be sitting to start the year. He'll be the backup behind Jacoby Brissett. So they have the veteran quarterback. He's going to stand in the pocket. He's going to take his licks. But I think they're going to have quick passes, like you said. Jalen Polk, get the ball in his hands, let him do the rest. But it's going to be ground and pound. They're going to run the heck out of the ball. They're going to be one of the run heaviest teams in the league. But game script dependent. What happens when they play the Dolphins twice a year? They're down 21-0 at halftime. You're not coming out and running the ball on third down and 10. So
going deep to Mr. Polk.
Yeah. So Jalen Polk, to your point, that's a name to remember.
I honestly do not know who's at tight ends this year, because I remember watching. Oh, so beautiful watching Aaron Hernandez, R.I.P. Aaron Hernandez and Gronkowski. They started the double seam.
Yeah, so Hunter Henry's their tight end. He's coming back again this year.
He was pretty darn good.
He's pretty good.
6'7", if I remember correctly. He was just a fun target to throw to.
Big guy, past his prime, but he still has a lot left for the league. So if there is a bright spot in offense in the passing game, I think it is tight end. I think Hunter Henry's a great late-round pick.
Play action opens that. It opens it tremendously.
And Jacoby Brissett does like his tight end. So
God, we got to watch him every.
Yeah, brutal. Yeah. And so
Austin
Hooper,
local TV.
Yeah, local TV. We're right here near Foxborough. So Austin Hooper too. Don't forget about him. So they have Hunter Henry, the backup tight end. They may go to tight end sets early in the season. Austin Hooper's there too, and he can catch the ball.
I did remiss on speaking about Joe Milton.
Yeah,
my God, did you watch that run?
Nature.
Yeah, right.
Freak of nature.
It's fun watching people.
He looks like Cam Newton, but maybe a better arm, stronger arm for sure.
I mean, he ran 70 yards in one play for 10 yards.
Apparently, Joe Milton. This is what he says. He claims that he threw the ball 85 yards in 9th grade. Can you imagine that? I don't think there's NFL quarterbacks that can throw the ball 85 yards today. He did it in 9th grade. 85 yards. That's insane. That's almost the entire football field. So, freak athlete. He's always been a freak athlete. He's doing backflips in practice with a helmet on.
So if we see injuries with Brissett,
if Brissett goes down, it's not a given that Drake May is next in line. I said at the top of this segment that he was, but it could very well be Joe Milton.
The one thing that Gerard Mayo might take from Bill Belichick was something I loved about Bill Belichick offenses was they always changed. Yeah. They would always. If they played against a team that was a great at pass defense, they would run the hell out of the ball every time. and vice versa. They always changed per week, whatever team they played. So hopefully the Patriots can do that, so it can be somewhat watchable on TV.
Yeah. My player spotlight for this team, I said it before, Ramondre Stevenson. He's the only one I want. I do want him, by the way. In my opinion, he is the safest round 3, round 4 pick right now that you can get at running back. And I've even seen him go later in round 5, which I think is a huge mistake. 9 games in 2023 with 60% plus snaps. Again, new coaching staff, but I think he's their workhorse back. Gerard Mayo knows that. He averaged almost 15 fantasy points per game in those games. 15 fantasy points per game, ranked RB 14 last season. I think that is his floor. I think his ceiling is RB top 7, maybe RB top 8. And no backfield competition. Antonio Gibson is there, but he's irrelevant. He is the cheapest true lead running back in fantasy drafts this year. So I love him.
All right, we'll see. This is one of those David Sampson's wait to see.
Yeah.
Because as a gambler, I can't put money on them early. Like I can't say he's going to get 100 yards in the first week. Now that being said, I'm quick to change.
Yeah.
Quick little anecdote. Watching the Celtics win up here recently. Not a Celtic fan at all, but I bet against them before the series. Mm-hmm. Saw game 1 and was like, okay, this is going to be a short series. So I bet it for them to win under 5 games. And
yeah, when I saw the Nuggets were out, I was all in on the C's. Even before then, I felt like they were going to cruise right through that one. So let's cue the Captain Phillips meme, because next up is the New York Jets. Rodgers is the captain now. He's there. This team is going to go about as far as he takes them. They have some major holes in this roster. They're not deep, so even if there's an injury outside of Rodgers, they're going to struggle. But they have the ground game, right? So they have Breece Hall, top 5 running back, one of the safer first-round running backs in fantasy drafts right now. They have the backup there, Braylon Allen, who looks really good, the rookie out of Wisconsin. Love him. Izzy Abanikanda, he's their 3rd string, really good running back from Pitt. Thank you. And then, of course, Garrett Wilson, all right? Another top 10 fantasy wide receiver, very safe pick in the first round. I think if Rodgers stays healthy, the sky's the limit for this team, and they are true Super Bowl contenders. What say you?
If he stays off the ayahuasca, I agree. Now, Vegas agrees with you. Vegas, they are the favorite to win the division at plus 180.
As they should be.
I don't think so. I think the Dolphins should be at 180. But
well, we talked about this. Yeah. The smart bet there is the Dolphins.
Right, the value.
The safe bet is the Jets. If they stay healthy, they should win that division. But the value bet, I agree. 100%.
This is my problem with the Jets.
Yeah.
They're the Jets.
Yeah, they're going to jet.
They're going to jet.
They're gonna jet.
I was born in Manhattan. The Jets.
Brutal. So with Garrett Wilson, he's my player spotlight with the Jets. He had almost 30% of the team's targets in 2023. Probably not sustainable, but that was with poor quarterback play. He was dinged up a little bit. I wouldn't be surprised to see that same number with Aaron Rodgers. And can you imagine that number with a really good quarterback, a Hall of Fame quarterback? I know it's been 2 years since we've seen Rodgers play, but this could be a lethal combo. He's the only wide receiver to ever post back-to-back 140-plus targets in his first 2 seasons. They bring in Aaron Rodgers. I think Garrett Wilson will finish as a top 3 wide receiver in 2024.
That's a bold take.
Yeah.
Again, if Aaron Rodgers can stay on the field, he's 40 years old. I'm 45. I fall down and I bruise for days. He's got 300-pound men trying to kill him.
Yeah.
So I agree. He's one of the most talented quarterbacks I've ever seen play. I would not put my money on him. I can't. And
Fair.
I know what I kind of had a brain fart there for a second. What I wanted to say was, they're still owned by Woody Johnson.
Yeah.
Woody Johnson.
Terrible ownership will always bring down a team.
Right.
We see it all the time.
Great ownership. Cheap ownership.
Good ownership. Yeah, they've had their lumps.
The winners.
Yeah, the winners. Right. Right. Yeah. You want to see terrible ownership? You don't have to look far.
Watching,
right?
but it was so Jets watching Aaron Rodgers play three snaps last year. So it's hard. It's really hard to say what Vegas believes in Aaron Rodgers. It's hard not to believe in Aaron Rodgers. I've seen Aaron Rodgers choke a lot. Now that being said, that's from a gambling perspective. From fantasy perspective, Garrett Wilson, they're gonna be outstanding. We're talking probably 35 to 4,000 yards for Aaron Rodgers. It's got to get it to other people.
Now, we mentioned before with Miami, bad defense leads to more offense. With the Jets, the Jets defense is so damn good.
They're gonna run.
Could that be the Achilles heel for the passing game? Are they gonna get a lead and milk it with the run game? Obviously Breece Hall is a great pick. Braylon Allen, another one.
That just gives them more chances.
Yeah.
That'll give them more possessions.
Yeah.
To
And we don't need to touch on tight end. Tyler Conklin had a decent year. Rodgers doesn't love his tight end. In Green Bay, he didn't really lean on the tight ends too much. If he did, it was
Mark Chmura did all right.
Yeah. So anyway, we can kind of put a bow on the AFC East.
I'm joking. My information isn't that dated.
We can put a bow on the AFC East. Up next is your Pittsburgh Steelers. We'll talk about the AFC North. Some good ownership over there. Great ownership in Pittsburgh. Looking forward to that one.